Here in Leeds with Alastair Campbell and John Prescott. I'm Emma and I'm one of the candidates for the European elections on the 4th of June. And Alastair, what have you been doing in Yorkshire today?
Well, as I said, shut up. As I said on my blog the other day, you can take, what did I say? You can take the
leadership.
You
yeah,
can take the
brilliant line.
What did I say? You can take.
I buggered it up with I buggered it up with the.
What have you been doing today in Yorkshire?
I've been campaigning with John Prescott for you. Why have I been doing that? Because I said on my blog the other day about John, you can take the man out of the leadership, but you can't take the leadership out of the man. And even though he's former deputy leader, he's still campaigning. And John always checks Burnley's fixtures to see where I am in relation to where he might be when he's out on the campaign trail. And because we've got a big game tomorrow, and he knows that Burnley's not far from here, he said, right, you're going to be up here, come and join me in Keighley, which is my birthplace. And now we're doing this event in Leeds. I'm just trying to get out the message.
Man, it's a bit more than that, because, I mean, he's in the Go Forth campaign, he's been backing into it, working all those kind of things. He's one of the four that actually said off Go Forth. We all agreed. Last September, there was a few miserable mornings about, you know, and it was difficult, we're down in the lows. So we launched Go Forth, and Alastair's an important part of that with Dick Caburn and Glenys Kinnock, and we're quite satisfied with trying to get the message across, aren't we?
Well, I think it is. I mean, I think that John and I both sort of go on quite a lot about the media and the way they cover politics and political debate. And I think in the next election and in these European elections coming up, face-to-face campaigning, actually getting out and engaging directly with people one by one is going to be much, much more important than ever. Because, yes, there's a lot of cynicism about politics, but there's also an awful lot of cynicism about the media. So actually there's a hunger, I still think, for... We found out in Keighley today that, you know, if you go out there and you just sort of make a bit of noise and people come to it, and yes, you might get one or two who aren't very happy to see you, but most people are, and they'll then engage and they'll hear some of the arguments, and hopefully then they go off and they say, oh, I had a chat with John Prescott about this, and, you know, maybe there is a sort of ripple effect about that. And I think that because the economy is not so great, because Labour are, you know, not doing so well in the polls, there's a tendency, there always has been, I think, in the Labour Party, people just... the heads just drop a little bit and think, oh, you know, what are we doing it for, and blah, blah, blah. And you've just got to try and get back some of that energy and enthusiasm, because that, in the end, is what's going to turn people back to the Labour Party. I mean, the 24-hour news and the noise around the media, of course it's important, it's an important part of the debate, but far more important is direct communication and getting out and talking to people.
And what kind of reception did you get in Keighley today? What kind of things were people saying?
Well, it was good, wasn't it?
It was great.
Yeah.
Exactly as I found in Liverpool, in Manchester, in Warrington, all the places we've been up to now. There's a good response. I think sometimes some of our MPs should go out and meet some of them. Some of them do meet us on the trail, and indeed, Alistair's here today, but we had Neil Kinnock and Glenys Kinnock in Manchester, Eddie Izzard in Liverpool, and you know, that old street business of getting around and talking face to face, as Alastair said, came out. There's a good response. Of course you get one or two people shout at you. You should pay them anyway. That's street politics, isn't it? But the response has been good. And our Labour Party people feel there's a fight on them. There's that mood coming back in them. We've got to get them into that fighting weight and fighting mood. You better be careful about the weight argument, you know, but you know what I mean, punch harder. Oh no, perhaps I shouldn't say that.
There was no violence anyway.
No, I can confirm there was no violence. And what would be your message to people for the European elections on the 4th of June? Why should they go out and vote Labour?
Well, that is the message, vote Labour. And well, vote, first of all, because I think it's one of the problems with European elections has always been the case. Again, sorry to rant on about the media, but they sort of say it's always a referendum on the government. You know, it'll be sort of taken as an indication of how well the government's doing. So European elections, to elect members of Parliament, to the European Parliament, where people, whether they like it or not, those members of Parliament, they matter to the constituencies and they matter to the issues that they address, which cover, you know, right across our national life. And I think that it's all about Labour values, but then it's about the specifics of the policy areas that the European Parliament and European Commission are responsible for, making sure you put in people there who understand what people in Britain are about, understand what they want out of Europe, and people like you go there and do the business.
And don't forget, it was the people in this country. I fought against going into what we call the common market then, but they did make a decision that Britain should be represented. It was a referendum. And therefore, if the people have made the decision, you must have representation over there. So all those things that Alice said are absolutely right. But there is one very important thing. Most people now know that the problems on finance and climate change are global. Even the swine fever we talk about is global. You can't cut off the barriers to that. And Gordon, bringing together the G20, means you've got to find a consensus. And an important consensus of that is bringing the European nations together, a powerful bloc in the world coming to common agreement based on Labour's values. And so there's a very important reason about educating people that Europe's not just about your lawnmower and the moan and the whine that the actual press tend on. Very important influence, and we must play our part there in getting the consensus for global solutions to global problems.
Well, thank you very much, and I will leave you to enjoy the rally this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.